Namaskara, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so very much for watching us. It's not every day that we get to experience a movie which takes you into another world altogether. More so when you have one of the most respected, loved star of all time. I'm talking about power star Puneet Rajkumar. Gandhada Gudi is playing in theatres, and with me in the studio today is one of the most talented, noteworthy wildlife photographer, director. I can't call him an actor just as yet because you are playing yourself in the movie, a documentary. What would you even like to call it? We'll get to those details. Ladies and gentlemen, it's none other than Amoghavarsha. Welcome to Fever 104 FM Amogh. So nice to see you here.
Hey, thanks, Sriram. Lovely to be here.
First of all, congratulations, because Gandhada Gudi is playing across screens, not just in Karnataka, but very soon all across the nation, and it's released in theatres all across the world as well. Not just in Kannada, but in other languages as well, I hear. So, how's the reception been, and how are you soaking it all in?
No, I think for me it's been a really big responsibility in the absence of Apu, because there's a lot of expectation from the people and the fans, and to be able to do justice to it, right, in his absence has been a really big responsibility. And I'm really glad that people have accepted with so much love, I would say. And for me, the most heartwarming thing is that, during the shoot, at least when I remember or think of him, I remember a smiling, happy, joyful Apu. And I think that experience that I had, I wanted to share it with people. And today, when people come back and tell me that they feel that their grief is, kind of flushed a little bit, and there's a smile on their face, just looking at him being himself and happy, I think for me that's been the most overwhelming thing.
Absolutely. Thank you for capturing it on celluloid. We get to share the moment with you. There are so many moments where people got absolute goosebumps. There was a moment where you've shown the magnitude of power star Puneet Rajkumar, right? Dr. Puneet Rajkumar, the person that he is, the personality that he is. You show the fanfare in the movie, and then he leaves it all to explore nature with you. Such a beautiful moment. And of course, everyone who's seen the movie will have their own moments that touch them the most. But let's talk about what this project was initially. Amogh, was this always a documentary style, or was this supposed to be a movie, a web series? How did it have its inception?
See, I think from the very beginning, this was a passion project, both for him and me. He said, let's do something interesting, and he had seen some of my films. So I said, let's go travel and take some cameras with us and go into the wild, kind of a thing. But we felt that nature and all the wealth that we have is not very accessible to people. One, it's expensive. Two, you need permissions. It's really a lot of hard work. So we said, how can we bring the experience that we both have, or I've been having for 2 decades, to people at a very nominal cost and in a very easy way. And cinema is, I think, for all of us, that medium that for 100 rupees, 150 rupees, you can just switch off everything and experience that. So we always wanted this to be on a big screen. So we planned it like that. I don't know what the genre is, because when I talk to even some of my collaborators in Hollywood, they say we don't know what is the kind of format this is, because it's factual, but it's short cinema style. But everyone's been saying it's an experience. Everyone's been saying it's a journey.
True.
And people are saying that we felt that we were there with you, right? So for me, I think an experiential cinema is what I'd like to call it, which is all real.
Right. Which is what makes it so very unique, right? You have a big star who you get to see as himself. He's not playing a character, he's himself. You, of course, are someone who is acclimatized with nature. You get to take him along, and there are so many moments that are captured that really brings out who he is as a person. And at the same time, our respect for Mother Nature increases through this experience viewing. And more than anything, I'd like to stress upon how this is something you need to experience on the big screen. It's a theater watch. Do not wait for it to come on OTT platform. And one of the main reason why is not just power star Dr. Puneet Rajkumar, but the way in which Mother Nature has been captured, and this experience of watching it on big screen. Would you like to stress upon this as well, Amol?
See, from the very beginning, if anybody's been into the wild, they'll know that you just can't watch it on the phone. It's impossible to feel the magnitude and the grandeur. I'm sure people have seen the trailer and it's on YouTube. We have Joke Falls as an example, which falls about 900 feet, right? Which is a really, really kind of tall waterfall, one of the tallest in South Asia. And you would see us as kind of like specks on the screen. So to see it in a theater is a very different experience. So, I mean, I've seen the film a zillion times while editing. And eventually when I got to see it for the first time in the theater, I said, wow, this is a different film that I've been watching while we were editing. So I think, and also the music and the audio experience, because when you experience something, 50% is from your visual, right? And the 50% is actually what you're hearing it, right?
Correct.
And music and sound has that ability to move people. And we felt that nature has to be felt both from your eyes and from your ears, and you have to feel it. And I think most people who've come out of the theater, and my friends who've called me, they're watching it in Australia, they're watching it in Canada, they're watching it in US, and they've come back and they're calling me and saying, I don't even know what to say.
Yeah.
So they're out of words, which means it's moved them in some way, right? And I think for me that big screen surround sound experience of watching nature, I think is irreplaceable.
So true.
And one of the, I think, critics reviewed and said, this is one of those times when you really have to go switch off everything and lose yourself to the big screen. And big screen was meant for something like this.
Very true, very true. And for those of you who do not understand Kannada, of course you have subtitles. People can read and enjoy this experience. To make matters even better, there is good news in terms of Gandhada Gudi now being released in multiple languages as well.
Yeah, we are planning for multiple languages as well, because we don't want language to be a barrier for an experience. Today in most of the multiplexes, the subtitles are there.
Correct.
So I think people are already watching it, and people who don't understand Kannada are also watching it and loving it. So I think stories don't have a language barrier. So we are planning to release it in other languages also, because I think language should not be a barrier to experience a story like this or a personality like Apu.
Absolutely. I would say take your little ones. The kids are absolutely going to enjoy this movie. Of course, adults as well are indulging with this movie, but you get to see Mother Nature. You get to see the wilderness of Karnataka, the beauty of Karnataka's vegetation. That apart, Dr. Puneet Rajkumar as well. And these moments cannot be missed out on. Let's get into the details, Amogha, because there are so many technicalities that are involved in coming out with an experience like this, like Gandhada Gudi. But let's talk about the pressure of taking a big star like power star Dr. Puneet Rajkumar to the wilderness. He is under your care, and this is almost like there is so much of pressure involved when you want to show a funny video to your friend, right? You're like, hey, macha, nodidu. This is so funny. And if they don't find it funny, you feel, ooh, am I responsible for this? So, big responsibility on your shoulders. But how did you feel when you felt that, okay, I have to make sure that this is a good experience, not just for him, for the viewers who are also involved, the entire team. You're a director who's worked on Wildlife Karnataka as well. So there are so many thoughts that may come across.
See, one definitely big challenge in the film that we've done is a lot of shows where celebrities are taken into the forest, things like that. They're all one schedule, one location more or less, one location, one schedule. I know some of these shows have also been shot in a half a day.
Right.
But we had to shoot it over a year, sustained, in the rains, in the rainforest, going underwater, all of that. But I think Apu is such a phenomenal human being that from the very first day that I met him till the very end of the project, he never made me feel that he was such a big star. I still remember I called him one day. No, you're such a big superstar. I said, no, I'm just an actor. So he had that ability to put people at ease. So not once did I feel that we were shooting with such a big star. That made it all the more easy. And I would hesitate to, sometimes say certain things, right? Because I'd have to tell him. I have to tell him we can't do this. But how do you say that, right? And I would say maybe. Oh, we can't? Okay, no problem. So like certain places we've had just 6 people shooting,
Right.
which is a very small crew. Like,
Yeah.
He's used to traveling with 50, 100.
With entourages.
Entourages, right?
Yeah.
Because the shooting sets are so big.
Yeah.
No, but he was completely fine with it. I think that's kind of, for me, the exploration of his personality is my journey in the film, right? To be able to shed all these layers and just be in the present, in the moment, and experience everything that nature has to offer. You need to be able to, leave behind any of these layers. And I think he managed to do it extremely well and very naturally.
Right, and we get to see that as well. It
Yeah.
really felt like we were with you. Amoghavarsha, Dr. Puneet Rajkumar, and we are also going on this journey of exploring Karnataka and how beautiful the locations are. Let's talk about the complexity of a shoot like this, right? There are moments where I was searching for a microphone somewhere. I didn't see a single mic. I was trying to look at the reflections of your sunglasses as well. Everything is so very natural. Dr. Puneet Rajkumar not wearing any makeup. He is himself. You are playing you as well. So there are multiple cameras that are involved at the same time. There were only 6 people who were shooting in some locations. So how complex was it to showcase all of this experience, Amogha?
No, I think the fundamental complexity is the access to these places. One, you need to have permissions, rules, regulations, equipment, knowledge, expertise, all of these things. Plus, the weather and the seasonality has to also
Which are not in your control.
not in our control,
Yeah.
right? So all of that have to play together. And also because we were shooting not with typical kind of handy cams you use for documentaries and run and gun kind of thing. We were using top of the line cinema equipment. A lot of places you don't have place to charge, so equipment has to be lugged somewhere else to be charged.
Right.
And small crew, and each of these cameras can weigh up to 20-25 kilos. You have to cross the streams with it. So I think the team put in a lot of hard work. Our camera people, my associate director. I mean, I know for a fact that on certain shoots, because we have to shoot only in natural light, we shot pretty much everything in natural light. Golden light is in the evening and in the morning. Sometimes we would do dusk shots and a little bit of night shooting. We would wrap the shoot at about 10:30, and the team has to go charge about 20-30 batteries, dump about 4 or 5 terabytes of data, and then be ready at 3:30 or 4 in the morning. So, I mean, everyone said that this is definitely the most complex, difficult shoot they've done, but also this is the most fun they've ever had in their lives.
Right.
So it's like that.
Everything falling into place, and of course you have someone like a Dr. Puneet Rajkumar who is just willing to let go and be a learner along the way as well, right? Does it somewhere along come across as he had bigger visions and he was willing to experiment a whole lot? Because for someone like him who is established, he doesn't have a point to prove anymore.
Yeah.
He could have simply just commanded a certain way of going with things the way he saw it, but still he was willing to let go and soak with what needs to be done at that moment of time. How did you feel about that approach?
See, I think even in the film I've said that he's a seeker, right? A very curious, like a child, right? And the thirst for knowledge, the thirst to push boundaries was always there. So when I think somebody like him who's seen fame and everything from when he was a child to now, sees really that the pursuit of excellence, to push the boundaries of cinema, to push his own boundaries, right? Like his own fear of snakes. So for me, all of that actually is my unraveling of what a hero is, right? Uh, and that format of a hero is accessible to all of us. We all can aspire to be that. We all can aspire to shed our layers, right? It's not something. It's not like a hero who'll drive like a Ferrari and take a chartered aircraft, right? So that's a different format of a hero. But this is a format of a hero who shed all his layers and was willing to learn and seek and push his boundaries. I think I couldn't have done this film with anybody else than him in this way and this format.
Yeah, because he is an established actor. We have seen him as a hero, but he was willing to be vulnerable, and he was willing to play himself and bear it all for the audience. That speaks a lot. And I think the timing of the project also was such that now we are able to make this happen. Technology, everything needs to fall into place, and we're so very happy that a project like this is something for the public to celebrate and embrace as well. There must have been a lot of pressure on you to not keep checking back into the lens as well, right? Because you are a director at heart, and having control and letting go of it has to be a skill. It's a very, very big trait that a lot of people can't let go of. You're a perfectionist. You want the cinematography, the frame to look a certain way. You have an actor like Dr. Puneeth Rajkumar who's in the frame, but you're also in the frame. And the hero of this entire project is Mother Nature, but you also have Puneeth Rajkumar. So how was that for you?
No, I think, I never had any kind of ambition to be on screen. Though several times the opportunity kind of surfaced and I just said, no. But this format required and required two people to be on the screen. And because of the comfort level we both had, it just naturally happened. Yeah, but initially the first few days of the shoot, I was definitely looking at the camera and saying, is the angle right? And my DOP and my associate director had to shout at me and say, you can't look at the camera, right? And then, of course, Puneeth would say, Amog, it's fine. He had to tell me how to be in front of the camera in some ways, right? Yeah, but it took a lot of unlearning as well, and switching off, and like you said, a little bit of detachment, saying, I'm just going to focus on this. But also, to your point, some of the sequences, they would start rolling and we would never know when the camera was rolling because we would just be having a conversation or just be doing whatever we would do. So which is why a lot of the time when you see the film, everything looks extremely natural because half the times we didn't know that the camera was rolling. So if it was a half an hour, the camera was rolling for half an hour, we must have used 3 minutes in the middle somewhere where we had no clue what was happening otherwise.
Right. Some moments, we keep going back to the moments. You have to watch this to really experience it. Really intimate settings. Appu taking us to his father's hometown, the place where it all began, the banyan tree, shots of that, and then of course Karnataka. How were these locations fixed, Amoghavarsha? Because when it comes to showcase of Karnataka, sure, there are many other locations which deserve to be highlighted, but Nethrani Islands or be it Malenadu, so beautiful. How exactly did you lock down on these locations? Was it a joint discussion with Puneeth Rajkumar? His schedule have something to do with it?
No, I think for us, we wanted to show a sample of every part of Karnataka, right? You can't show the whole of Karnataka because I still haven't seen it. After 2 decades of traveling, there are places still, when I drive, I'm like, wow, I didn't know this existed, right? So we wanted to kind of bring attention to every different geography of the state. And a lot of these things were organic. Like you said, we would discuss and he would say, oh, then we must definitely go to our village. This is beautiful banyan tree, you would love it. And, we went to the banyan tree and it just blew my mind. And seeing Dr. Rajkumar's home was one of the most humbling experiences of my life. I had tears in my eyes, literally. And I remember coming back and dropping him a message saying, it's one of the greatest experiences of my life. So it really moved me because some of these things, somebody like him, to come from a house which is exactly the size of this room, and 6 people would stay in this place, and to become like an icon for an entire generation is mind blowing, right? So it's something that I think surpasses my understanding of the universe. So yeah, a lot of these things were very organic and um, kind of even now when I think about it, what was the original plan? I can't really recollect. It just kind of went from one to another. One day he said, "You think we should definitely shoot Joke Falls, right?" Or so, yeah, I said we should definitely do Joke Falls, and we said, and I was discussing with him. I said, Joke Falls has been shown a zillion times on every kind of film and TV. I said, no, let's do a different view of Joke Falls, which nobody would have seen. So we got these FPV drones and drone pilots who were like really skilled. And the interesting thing is when we went to shoot in Joke Falls, for the 3 days that the team was there before us, there was complete mist. They couldn't shoot anything. Then Apu came and I told him, hey, look, there's a lot of mist. Should we try tomorrow or should we do a day after? I said, we'll just give it a shot tomorrow. Let's go. We went. The moment we stood on that surface, on that ledge, the mist cleared. So 2 hours we shot. We still have the last shot somewhere. And the mist covered back. So it's like incredible things have happened. And I don't even know how to comprehend all of it.
Yeah, I guess it's just divine. Things had to fall into place.
Yeah.
You also mentioned the locations in Netrani. You go for scuba diving. In Karnataka, you can go scuba diving. That is being highlighted. But scuba diving is so time-bound activity. The visibility, the right kind of weather, the sun needs to hit at the right time, and for all of it to be captured, such a beautiful experience. You get to see Joke Falls through those drone shots, which are incredible, underwater marine life, and all of this in beautiful Karnataka. One of the most interesting part that I enjoyed was, whenever you go and shoot something, it has an impact to it. You shooting in Joke Falls may get a lot of people to go visit Joke Falls, Netrani Islands, any of the places that are showcased as well. Being responsible as a filmmaker and also highlighting the right practices. For example, don't use plastic. There is an attempt to educate the audience through the project as well.
Yeah.
Was that always something that you kept in the back of your mind?
No, absolutely. Because when somebody like him says something, it's what we call Vedavakya. It's like the Bible, right?
Commandment.
It's like commandment, right? So we were very cautious of everything that's shown on the screen, right? So we call this format man with wild, right? So there's no pulling, tugging of snakes and trying to act against nature in any which way. And that was the first ever thing that we discussed, that there's going to be a very Eastern view of nature, because we are not a culture which pulls alligators by the tail or snakes by the tail. We don't show our bravado in front of animals. We coexist with them. And we have a lot of respect, a divine respect. We worship snakes, we worship elephants. So we said this is something that we definitely need to kind of bring into the film, because most often what we see on screen is a very Western view of nature, where man is, or human beings are on the top. We are not a culture like that. We are what you call a Vasudeva Kutumbam. We are one among every creature. And that has been the thought from the very, very beginning. And to the point of people looking at this and kind of trying to do the same things, we made sure that all the permits, safety, rules, regulations were followed to the T. So most of these places, obviously, people can't access because they're all forest department. And we would go with the forest department staff or research experts. So every sequence, if you see, there is some expert involved, right? Even joke and things like that, we've not done anything like go to the edge, and we've stayed at a safe distance, right? So all of those were very well thought through, because for Apu or, when we were discussing the film, heroism is not about unnecessarily pushing safety conditions, safety boundaries, right? Even when we would go swimming in the river, wherever we swam, there were multiple lifeguards. He's a great swimmer, I swim well, but we had lifeguards all through.
Right.
So I think safety, and I want to emphasize this, because today, even independent of our film, there are a lot of people, traveling, influencers, social media celebrities. And for that one shot, people push the boundaries. And if you see the film, we've not pushed any boundary. We've always stayed safe, and still, I feel we've made a decent film. So I think I'd like to kind of urge, especially for the young audience, which is definitely on the lookout for the next great shot, to do it for a long term. And anybody who's done it for a long time will tell you that safety and rules are a must.
Yeah. Thrill aside, respecting Mother Nature, and I think that's been portrayed beautifully in Gandhada Gudi. There is and Apu has made it happen through allondu kardi ಇದೆ, ಅದರ ಹತ್ರ ಹೋಗೋಣ ಬೇಡ, ದೂರ ನಿಂತೆ respect ಮಾಡೋಣ. We'll enjoy this moment through that. Be it finding plastic in the marine life. There are so many moments where you've really emphasized on enjoying Mother Nature and celebrating it by coexisting and not really causing any harm. Letting go of the snake back into the wild. All those little moments really, somewhere along the line, as individuals who wish to explore, who wish to be travelers, who wish to be thrill seekers, there is a message out there to celebrate Karnataka and enjoy Karnataka through a refined manner. Talk to us about what we have, what we may not notice, Amoghavarsha, because you are someone who has captured beautiful moments, and you are saying that there are so many places that I haven't seen. We may not know about this. We always tend to travel to the west. We want to travel to the Maldives. We want to travel to Europe to experience nature, but there is so much of abundance in Karnataka.
No, I think my favorite example is, so I was in Scotland about 4 months ago on some work, and I was with a friend who's written a book on birding. We went on a birding walk this whole evening, and we saw 6 species, and it was over the top, 6 species of birds. Around Bangalore, you can see 200 species of birds in a day, right? So we have a small place near Kanakpura, and my friend counted 84 species of birds in just one afternoon.
My goodness.
So I'm not even saying you have to go all over Karnataka. You just have to go literally backyard of Bangalore, and our office is right next to Lal Bagh. There's a silk cotton tree which is, I think, 200 years old, and it's maybe the size of half the size of this building. It's mind-blowing what we have in the city, let alone get outside the city. And Bangalore being called the garden city for a reason, right? The number of species you can see in the city itself is quite high. So I feel the more I've traveled, I mean, I've traveled pretty much across the world, from Polynesia to, Africa. The more I've traveled, I've realized what wealth we have in our own backyard. And I've actually started traveling less and less, because I think I find everything here. The weather is good 365 days, right? So what else can we expect? And I'm sure if we look outside your window in the next 10 minutes, we'll spot 5 birds, 5 species easily.
Right. Karnataka has the highest number of tigers, the elephants that are here as well. Sometimes, like you said, it just takes some amount of patience and turning off from the clutter, and just observing things around us to enjoy nature, right? And it brings about a whole lot of perspective to how we will probably need to look at infrastructure within the city and pay respect to Mother Nature that it deserves. Coming back to Gandhada Gudi, Amoghavarsha, once again, thank you for taking the time being here, talking about the project, which is so very special, not just to you, but to everyone else who are viewers and part of this project as well. Talk to us about learnings from the man, Dr. Puneet Rajkumar. It's so very unfortunate. We do feel that he is with us, and he continues to be through all the work that he's done. And you have given us a project like Gandhada Gudi. But what have been your learnings that you will treasure for the rest of your lives?
No, I've learnt a lot, right? When I would see people would, there was a place so remote that you have to take only a 4-wheel jeep to get to, and there's no cell phone network, but we were start shooting in the morning. By afternoon, 200 people had gathered from nowhere, that climbed hills, mountains, walked around and come. And I realized that's the love he received. So there's something beyond fame and all of that, which is love of the people. And the love of the people was not because he was a star, but because of the human being he was, right? So it's been a year, and even today you see posters everywhere and fresh garlands every corner. I think this is a world phenomena. I mean, you would obviously concur that we've not seen a phenomena like this in the world, right? So when you question what makes a person like this, for me it was that he was a very universal human being, and a very content, complete man, right? Not seeking fame, not wanting all the things that we all constantly crave for, and at the same time having this childlike curiosity. At that age, after knowing everything, I think all of those were very, very special, and it's definitely a big learning for me.
Well, you are fortunate, and I want to say thanks for sharing those moments with all of us. There must be a lot of footage that didn't make it to the movie. Sometimes on the editor's table, you may have so many memories that you jog back to. What are some of the thoughts that come to your mind?
No, I think for us, we wanted to make a film which was appealing to every kind of audience, right? Because it's very easy to be self-indulgent and make a 3-hour film, a 4-hour film, or whatever you want to do, because people love him and they're going to definitely watch. But from the very beginning, we wanted to make a film that kids would love, right? So knowing the attention span these days, and how long kids can sit, we made a very conscious decision to keep it at a very long enough that people can dive deep, but short enough that they don't feel that, oh man, this is dragging on. So some of those things are very hard decisions to cull, but hopefully in the future we might do something with the footage that we still have.
Well, it's out on celluloid for you to enjoy. Gandhada Gudi, make sure you go to your theatre and enjoy this experience. This is unlike any other movie that you've seen before. It truly is an experience, and for you to enjoy this with your entire family truly makes it a moment that you cannot miss. Take your friends, your family members, their kids, everyone is welcome. And there are special initiatives that are put in place so that kids and family members can enjoy the movies as well, and it's coming in multiple different languages too. Amoghavarsha, thank you for spending time with us, and we look forward for all your exciting future plans, because you now have left a huge standard. It must involve larger than life, respecting Mother Nature, at the same time the wildness that Karnataka has to offer. You've set yourself a huge benchmark that you have to live up to as well. Is there pressure for the next project?
Well, I want to take a break after this and get back into the wild for a while and then really think of what next.
Right. You've stayed in the city for too long, longer than
you
usually do. Yes.
Yeah, I have withdrawal symptoms now.
Thanks once again for coming all the way to our radio station, and we look forward to catching up with you soon enough.
Thank you so much.